Welcome to Tamara Lynette Tales. I'm Tamara, and I spill the tea on your favorite reality stars. Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 12. So in this episode, the couples met with Dr. Pia, which would have been the Dr. Viviana visit, where she gives them assignments to amp up their little sexual intimacy. So it wasn't the same watching Dr. Pia do it. Oh, and before I get started, please check out this video where I spotlight 11 small businesses that you need to know about. That video took me forever and a day to complete, so please show it some love. Now let's get into these highlights. Son of a Mitch chatted with his female friend. He told her that he was basically being a stand-up comedian in bed, which Krysten didn't like. But he didn't like the way she told him that she wasn't feeling his comedy routine during sex. So now he's feeling insecure and held back from being his true self. Suck it up, Buttercup. Do you have any idea how many married folks would love to be having sex on the regular? You don't have to tell jokes during sex, but she doesn't want to hear your jokes in bed? Cry me a river already. So what? So during their meeting with Dr. Pia, she brought cards with questions for them to ask each other. So Son of a Mitch pulled the first one, and it said, "Who was your childhood hero or heroine?" And he's like, "Heroine? Heroin?" Not the drug, Son of a Mitch. So he said all of the movies where the buff dude was the hero were his childhood heroes. And Krysten said her mom was hers. She's a Cuban immigrant, came to this country with nothing, and now she's like super successful. Son of a Mitch was like, "Not to challenge you, but did you feel that way when you were a kid? Because you're referring to things that happen currently." And Krysten had a little attitude like, "Yes, I did." So Krysten and Dr. Pia got on Son of a Mitch for challenging her. Like, dude, after all the things she just said about her mom, that's your takeaway? So he was apologetic, saying that he was in his head and put his own crap on her and it wasn't the way to handle it. So he seemed to handle correction well, but it's obvious that Krysten is getting tired of having to correct him. So the next question was, what type of person do you think our children will become? So he was like, "Okay, let me just be clear. You're talking about our children, like me and you, like her, me and her, right? Oh my God, Son of a Mitch, are you trying to be a pain? You're married. Of course they're asking you about children with your wife, dork." So then they talked about not having sex because of his excessive jokes in bed. So he claims that he doesn't remember what he said, but Krysten did, but opted to respect him and not share unless he wanted her to. And he was like, no, you don't have to share it. Ah, so you do remember what you said, you son of a Mitch. You know exactly what you said and you're embarrassed about it. So he talked about how he finds humor in things that aren't supposed to be funny, like sex, because it's built up to be so perfect, like in movies and stuff. But in his experience, sex is awkward with weird sounds and like human fluid. Newsflash, sex isn't awkward for everyone, son of a Mitch. So Krysten said before she feels comfortable having sex with him again, she needs him to be more vulnerable and have less Mitchism outbursts. In other words, you need him to not be him. Okay, got it. Later, they went to the beach to answer more sex-related questions that Dr. Pia gave them. One of them was, "What is your favorite position?" And Krysten was like, "That's easy. Doggy style. Doggy style. Ooh, yeah, that feels good." And Son of a Mitch said, "That's my favorite too, because it's a good ending position for me. Like, I'll have an orgasm." Son of a Mitch, you are painting yourself as someone who struggles between the sheets, boy. Meanwhile, the dog was trying to dig his way out of that awkward scene. I don't blame him. Their exercise from Dr. Pia was to explore each other's bodies without words or jokes. They both enjoyed it, and just like that, Krysten is saying she thinks she's almost ready to get busy with Son of a Mitch again. I think Krysten likes Son of a Mitch, but doesn't enjoy being his wife. Like, maybe they would be better off as like co-workers, like not even friends. Meanwhile, Son of a Mitch seems to be falling for Krysten, but he's getting in his own way by navigating through this relationship like a drunk frat boy, like loud, always saying the wrong thing, and not performing well in bed. During their Dr. Pia visit, Nate said that Stacia is struggling to trust him, and the question now is, what is stopping her from trusting him? Stacia had a weird response. She said she has a hard time trusting people unless she can fact check it. Like, if you say the sky is blue, if she can't see it for herself, then she's not gonna believe it. Okay, Mrs. Private Eye, you're missing the entire concept of what trust is. Nobody's trying to have a conversation with you while your nose is in your phone, Googling to see if what they're saying is true. Gut up and get on this trust bandwagon, girl. Dr. Pia thinks that Stacia equates trust with control and suggested that Nate plan an activity for them, and Stacia has to completely give up control and allow Nate to plan it and lead it. So after Dr. Pia left, Stacia said that she would try to do the assignment, but she has to approach it with baby steps. So how come you get to approach your issues with baby steps, but Nate's got to fix his like now? So later, Nate took Stacia to what looked like an underground sex dungeon to play with sex toys and create some more soft porn for us viewers. Okay, Nate, I tried to have your back on the trust issue, but what is this place? I mean, he had her handcuffed to the bed. He was on top of her, simulating the missionary position. He went down on her over her leggings. They were all up in the sex wing, and that's just what they showed us. Here are some pictures of things that we didn't get to see on TV. These two are definitely comfortable with the cameras, but I think she needs to learn how to trust him and fast, or he's going to lose patience and give up. Being in a married at first sight marriage is hard enough without having to jump through these trust hurdles every day. So with that said, I've mentioned this before, I think they actually get along a lot better than what we are shown. They met with Dr. Pia and told her that they are struggling with Alexis going out with her friends. So Weeping Willow said that she goes out to the club every weekend with her friends, and that's like single person's lifestyle. And Alexis said she doesn't always go to the club, sometimes it's just brunch, but she spends a lot of time with Weeping Willow and needs a break. I do get the break part. I have a background in entertainment and taped a project where 4 of us lived together for only 4 days. And taping these shows is no joke. It's like having that feeling of being new on the job, but all day and night. Like even when you go to bed, you don't know anybody and nobody knows you. Plus you have cameras in your face, sound crew, lighting crew, production assistants, makeup artists, producers, and so on, all up in your business. You don't have any privacy, and you have to have engaging conversations for like 8+ hours a day. It's draining. So I totally get the part about her or anybody else on this show needing a break at this point, but not at the club if your husband isn't comfortable with it. But she did say she doesn't always go to the club. Sometimes she goes to brunch. Okay, so let's do the math on this. They are 5.5 weeks in at this point, and that's based on the show saying that they have 18 days until decision day. So the first 2 weekends were spent getting married and honeymooning, so that leaves 3 weekends. And Weeping Willow said that she went out 3 weekends in a row, but she said one of those weekends he went with her. So it sounds like they're arguing over 2 weekends, one where she went to the club and a second where she went to brunch, and maybe she's making plans to go out for the upcoming weekend. I think he's exaggerating about her being at the club every weekend, but he does have a right to not feel comfortable with her being at the club when she does go out. But regardless of where she goes, this really isn't even about the club. He gets on her damn nerves, and he's not fun in her opinion. So I think she's going out and living her best life until decision day. Having arguments as to whether or not she should be at the club is a waste of time because she's operating from the mindset of, I'm contractually obligated to be married when I'm taping the show, but when the cameras go away, it's time to turn up, show out, and prepare for the single life. So during this conversation, Dr. Pia asked Alexis, do you think you're ready to be married to Weeping Willow? She was like, I don't know. I don't think so. Hello, this is what I'm talking about. He's not feeling like a husband to her, therefore she's not behaving like a wife. I'm not saying she's right. I'm just pointing out what I see based on what we're shown. Naturally, Weeping Willow felt some type of way about her response, and he said he doesn't want to be an option. She's a catch, but he's a catch too. You better preach, man. So they're getting like deep into their problems, and Alexis brought up Newton and how she still stayed with Weeping Willow after the incident. And Dr. Pia was just like, wait a minute, hold up. He made some big sacrifices with his dog too. So you've both sacrificed, but I'm here to talk about trust and intimacy. It was like this conversation was out of her realm of knowledge. She's like, look, I'm a sex therapist, not a psychiatrist. I don't know what y'all need to do about this woman being in the club twerking every weekend, okay? But is he hitting it or not? Alexis was not happy that she shifted gears abruptly, though, and said, this conversation is not good for my mental health. Like, y'all just ganged up on me, then moved on to talking about sex? Weeping Willow was like, no, we moved on because you said you don't want to be married to me. You don't think that hurt my feelings? So when Weeping Willow confronted Alexis about how hurtful it was to hear her say that she didn't want to be married to him, she went from the confident, strong voice to I'm a delicate little flower voice. I know I said that and it's a negative thing, right? I'm just telling my truth, husband. Girl, I'm over here getting whiplash from your emotional acrobats. So Dr. Pia didn't have much advice at all to offer. She basically was the referee of their fight, then concluded that both of their behaviors need to change because they are no longer single. So later, Alexis and Weeping Willow sat down to answer the questions Dr. Pia left for them. They get into another tiff about her desire to go out. He's more of a homebody and wants to watch TV and chill. And she's saying, you're underestimating the turn up because I could go out Monday through Friday, but I choose not to right now. Okay, if she respected him as a husband, she wouldn't threaten him with a Monday through Friday turn up. I'm just saying. So then we see them back inside their apartment and the experts put a stripper pole in the kitchen so she can swang around it and turn on Weeping Willow, then not have sex with him. So she did a little pole dance for him. But what they didn't show is this. Yeah, there it is. What was that? So after the dancing, Weeping Willow suggested that they each take turns telling their true feelings, while the other one sits with a mask on and just listens without interruption. So he went first and pretty much just let her have it. I feel like I'm number 2 when it comes to your friends and your dog. I don't feel like I'll ever be number 1. Number 2, I think that puts you at a number 3 at best, mister. I don't feel like you're ready to be married. I'm frustrated that you don't ask me how I feel about what's happening with Maya. Dang, girl, you haven't asked him how he's holding up after agreeing to part with his dog? That's hardcore. So they switched and she said some positive things about herself being a great woman and him doing the best he can, and then claims that's all she had to say, like nothing negative to say. I got nothing. To the confessional cam, she said that it made Weeping Willow feel good to get out his emotions, so she didn't want to say more and take that away from him. She feels like she's been transparent the whole time, so she didn't feel the need to reiterate things that she's been saying for the past month. Okay, then at least be more genuine with it and say that. I've expressed to you how I feel and don't want to beat you up by repeating it. But just sitting there saying, I'm good, that's all I got, I don't have anything else to say, feels like you're pulling a caddy when she let Ben read his letter, then walked out without reading hers. Don't agree to play if you're not gonna play. So Dr. Pepper explains that Lindy and Miguel are in a great place in their marriage, but haven't experienced a real conflict. So we are hoping to expedite things by giving them a special delivery. Say what now? Things are going good, so you want to try and screw things up? Lindy and Miguel open their door and there's a brown baby doll in a basket on the floor. I mean, that baby was chocolate. It looked like it should have been one of Nick Cannon's 19 kids. Their assignment is to treat the baby like a real one. It was cute to see Miguel really get into it from the moment he took the doll out of the basket. They named the baby McGindy. So their intimacy assignment was to play Jenga, but every puzzle piece had like a sex-related question or a command. So Lindy had to take a body shot off of Miguel. Now, somebody on this show loves body shots because Bao had to do it with Johnny. They wanted Mirla to do one on Gil. Katina did one on Elijah Wan. Somebody over there is getting off on these. And anyway, to the confessional cam, Lindy says, I'm not a party girl. Label me what you want, but I'm not a party girl. I've never done a body shot. Then turned around and did a body shot off of Miguel's belly like a champ. So to the confessional cam, Miguel said that what they have is real. They both feel safe and secure with each other. Not for long if the experts have anything to do with it. So they didn't show Lindy and Miguel meeting with Dr. Pia, but they did meet with her, as you can see in this behind the scenes photo. I suspect that they are doing so well that the footage was boring. So the focus was on them taking care of McGindy, which seemed to bring them closer together where the experts were thinking it would cause a rift between them. Okay, whatever. Boring. And hour into the show, we finally see Caddy and Ben. They are sitting on the couch waiting for Dr. Pia, and Caddy still looks pissed. Like, girl, this isn't even healthy. Forgive him for your own mental health at this point. So 2 sentences into the conversation with Dr. Pia, Caddy starts crying because she asked for a best friend and says she's been in defense mode the entire time. Now, I don't doubt that she's hurting, but she's been so gangster with Ben, it's difficult for me to feel compassion towards her. So she said that he's attacked her character the whole time and doesn't tell the full truth. So Dr. Pia went after Ben and said, it sounds like you're pretty vindictive. Funny, because when they showed this preview, I thought she was saying this to Caddy. Well, hoping anyway. So Ben said that he's scared to talk to Caddy because she has the same temperament as his dad, and his dad was tough on him too, and it triggers him. Now, I know Ben has made mistakes, but I enjoy how he's able to look at his behavior and tell you the root cause. Everybody can't do that. So Caddy said, I could have created a safer place for him to feel comfortable talking to me, but he's been doing this since day one, so I don't know what I could have done differently for him not to lie to me. Well, I don't believe you asked him on day one not to talk to Weeping Willow about your marriage, so go ahead and take some responsibility for the situation and not dump all of the blame on Ben. Then she says that she hasn't gotten a genuine apology. I about fell out of my chair. Now who's not telling the truth? I've heard this man give her really genuine, heartfelt apologies at least twice. But she's saying that he hasn't given her an emotional apology. What the heck is that? Please, baby, please, forgive me. I'll be your sugar daddy. Just don't leave me. Please, baby, please. Ben rambled on about how he doesn't know how else to apologize because he's given verbal apologies. He's sitting there looking like a kid who got dragged into the principal's office. Like, find your words, man. Speak up for yourself. So Dr. Pia asked Ben, like, what else can you do to apologize? Don't ask Ben, ask Caddy. She's the one asking for a theatrical apology. So Caddy is fussing at him because he says he feels guilty, but she don't feel it from him. She doesn't feel any emotion from him. No emotion? I mean, look at this man. He's always talking with his head down, with like guilt and pain in his face. And I'm sure disappointment that they picked you as his wife. So to the confessional cam, he said that he's had a hard time articulating his words because he doesn't want to say the wrong thing and he wants her to be happy. I believe he's reacting to her the same way he's reacted to his dad, trying to say the right thing to please her and afraid of getting in trouble again. Now, he knows she's got fault in this, and that's probably some of the things he told Weeping Willow about her, but he's a people pleaser and afraid of upsetting her by speaking his truth. So instead, he's taking 100% responsibility of their problems, and there's not an expert around who's trying to stop him. The husbands played basketball and the wives went to the beach. Miguel walked up with McGindy. To the confessional cam, son of a Mitch said, I just would have taken out the batteries and tossed it in the closet. You were wrong for that, son of a Mitch, but that's hilarious. So Ben told them that Caddy told him that he owes her an emotional apology, and the guys were like, what does that mean? He wasn't really sure. I think she means that she wants you to put one of your kidneys on ice just in case she needs it one day. Meanwhile, Caddy tells the ladies that she told Ben that she needs an emotional apology. And Alexis was like, why are you asking for something you know you're not going to get? And then Lindy carried on about how, I'm so mad for you because you're so emotionally intelligent and so strong and you don't deserve this. And Caddy was just sitting there agreeing like, yes, yes, I know, emotional superior over here. Just like Ben did to her. I don't believe she's telling the wives the whole truth, like how she's cussed him out, been unforgiving, and put up her big old walls in this marriage. And son of a Mitch kind of called her out to the confessional cam. He said, I know Ben did some things wrong, but he's blaming himself for everything, and I wish Ben would say it wasn't all my fault. Thank you. I wish he would say it too. Son of a Mitch and Krysten talked about them putting sex on hold for now. So Son of a Mitch said he's having a hard time imagining himself making long-term plans with her. And Krysten said that this isn't the marriage she imagined and they have some work to do. And Lindy said, you have to teach him not to be a bitch. Damn, okay, church girl, call it like you see it. Wow. Alexis talked about how she likes to go out and he doesn't. So she invited him out and he went, but she said he was no longer into that scene. So to the confessional cam, she said, I'm not trying to compare my husband, but my relationships before were super fun. A lot of passion and spontaneity. I never experienced anyone this defensive and sensitive. Like, I don't really even understand how he feels sometimes. Sounds like somebody is regretting running away from those 3 marriage proposals. Next time you get a good man, you better hold on. Grass isn't always greener, girl. So to the confessional cam, Nate laid into Alexis. He said, I don't know Alexis very well, but I don't believe her heart is in this. I'm disappointed because Alexis is the one snitching and causing damage to other people's marriage. Then she's gossiping and still going to the club every weekend. So Nate needs to be on every episode of After Party. He just lays it out there and calls it like he sees it. I love it. I'm here for that. So later we saw Alexis and Weeping Willows having a big fight in their apartment. They are still arguing over her going to the club and him needing her to be blindfolded in order for him to speak his truth. But it's a screaming and crying match, but this time she's the one that's crying. So one of the producers goes in to see what's wrong. Now, did they semi-fire the experts or what? In earlier seasons, they would have whipped out an iPad and FaceTimed an expert. Weeping Willow said she was shocked by the things I told her when she was blindfolded. She'd never heard those things before. So after he spoke his truth that night, he told her that he felt that like he was a little too direct. But he was like, I don't want my wife in the club every weekend. Like, why not go bowling or something? Because she's not gonna meet her next bae at the bowling alley. She likes the club guys. Duh. The producer said, y'all are doing he said, she said. Lex, where you at? Y'all saying 2 different things. Okay, so this is where you get Pastor Cal on FaceTime and ask him to help these people. So the producer dipped out of the scene to allow them to keep arguing. Weeping Willow said he feels like he's not wanted because anytime he tries to have intimacy, she's not reciprocating. So before they weren't having sex because he was celibate, which she shouted out to all the guests at the wedding because it was so upsetting to her. Now she's holding back the sex. Why? I think it's because she's not into that man and she wants to be able to tell the next man she dates that she never had sex with Weeping Willow. That she was just like playing the part for the show. And she said, I didn't picture marriage to be like this. I pictured it as being fun, doing things we did as single people together. So he said, where do we go from here? And she just shrugged. Weeping Willow, this woman hasn't been attracted to you since the dating app. She said that she doesn't think she's ready to be married to you, and you're not fun. What more do you need to hear before you come to the conclusion that she's just not that into you? And I'll talk to you later.